My name is Billie Pierre. I'm from the Nlaka'pamux Nation in the southern interior BC. I live in Merritt, BC. That's on my home territory. I'm a part of a group called the Nlaka'pamux Grassroots, and we got together maybe about, I feel, 2 or 3 years ago now, and met and talked about how we would be opposing the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion. So this was before the pipeline was approved, and the pipeline was built through our territory in, I do believe, the 50s, and it's like had a negative impact on our territory. There's been a few leaks that leaks, huge leaks in 2013, and there's a huge one in Vancouver also. It's the same pipeline, Trans Mountain Pipeline in Burnaby. That was, I do believe, in 2007, and that was huge too. So this is a dangerous pipeline. Like, pipelines are dangerous, and it's filled with bitumen and all these products from the oil sands out on unceded Indigenous territories in the north. I do believe, like Dene, Cree territories, impacts on Métis, and we all decided that we stand with everyone from the tar sands to any Indigenous people who are opposing any oil or gas project. And we decided we'd also be opposing this pipeline expansion project. And it does impact several communities, or a couple of the communities along the pipeline. It impacts 3 different reserves, I do believe. It might actually be 4. Some of them are very small reserves, but it impacts them, and it puts these families at further risk. And they're already, as we found out in the past few years, they're already at risk for, contamination. So those are some of the problems. The other problems include the impacts on salmon, on the water, impacts on, well, other fish, on the forests that the pipelines go through. So our territory is impacted roughly from Hope to Kamloops. So it's 200 kilometers, and the area between Merritt and Hope is Coquihalla Mountains, and that whole area is really it's like we hunt and fish, and we pick berries and medicines and all that, like a lot of the people from my territory, and we really utilize that area. It's we really need to keep it clean, in order to be able to maintain, a traditional lifestyle, and to have like the lifestyle that we want, where we're able to go camping and able to go fishing and able to go berry picking and all these really fun things that are really healthy and that help us maintain that connection to the land and to keep our health, to keep healthy. So we don't want this pipeline, and currently the pipeline's been shelved, and the federal government is seeking to I guess do a proper Indigenous consultation with the Indigenous nations through these band councils. And I haven't heard much like from where I'm from. I personally don't see band negotiations through band councils as legitimate. I don't see band councils as a legitimate body, as an Indigenous, a true Indigenous body, because they are created by the Indian Act, and they are funded by the federal government, and they take money from from different natural resource projects, which like logging, mining, whatever. And I do believe that these band councils are introducing, capitalism into our communities. So where at one point we were strictly like hunters and fishers, and that we're now, many people do work in the like natural resource industries, or they're more open to making negotiations, land deals and all these different, approving projects and, seeking financial gain for different natural resource projects. And I think that that's really utterly alien. Like, that has nothing to do with who we really are. And this is something that band councils have created. So, we're starved, we're cut off our land, and then these band councils were introduced. So it's assimilative. And so I don't think that you can say true consultation comes from these band councils, but even the consultations that the government is making with these band councils, I don't, up to date, I haven't heard of anything that sounds anything like a more in-depth consultation. And I can share what's happened in the past with the first consultations was, they were, the federal government and at that time Kinder Morgan met with band members and council and did presentations on the project and answered questions, and I see nothing like that happening right now. So a couple of days ago, Trudeau gave an interview to CBC stating that 75% of the Indigenous communities have been consulted with. I have no idea if anyone out there has had any proper consultation. So I just want to share that. And I want to share that there's a lot of people who don't want this pipeline, who would rather protect the hunting grounds. I'd like to share another thing about the Nicoll Valley and the region. In the spring now, we're experiencing floods, like severe floods, like floods we haven't seen before at this level. And it's happened 2 years in a row. So this past winter, it's been a lot warmer. So maybe we're not going to have the same severity of floods. That's damaged, it's flooded. There's several communities that have been flooded, like in Merritt, Lower Nicoll, anywhere along the waterways. And we might not have the same problems this year because there hasn't been as long of a winter. It hasn't been as cold. There hasn't been as much snow. But what we experienced in the summers over the past, it's becoming normal now, is severe forest fires. So there's severe forest fires everywhere. They were in the Nicoll Valley region last year too. And I do want to say that we're under, now, because there might not be the floods and there wasn't the same snow, we might be at risk for more severe forest fires this year. So all this is linked with climate change, is all linked with clear cutting of trees. The water has been tampered with through mining. Mining has impacted the water in the region. It's cut off natural water flows in some areas of the territory. And I just want to say that, we really need to step away from these projects like logging and mining. We do not need to be doubling to have a new pipeline in the Merritt area or on our territory. And we need to make a change of how we're living, completely. Last spring, there was talk in the media, in Canadian media, about how the Prime Minister could theoretically invoke the Emergencies Act and actually have Canadian troops, protect the pipeline, when they build it, and, to stop any, possible direct action or opposition to this pipeline being built. And I do want to draw attention to the fact that the pipeline was initially planned to be, you know, they were going to start building it in September 2018, before the project was halted by the lawsuit from all the First Nations and environmental groups that, you know, actually successfully stopped the project. And in early September, the pipeline was going to start being built. And I want to state that in August, there was forest fires in Merritt and in the Okanagan, and there was about 250 Canadian military deployed in the Merritt area. And they had their camps there. They were there to assist with fighting forest fires. But I do believe it's possible that they were there in place for when the pipeline project was slated to begin, and that they could have been there to guard the project and to stop any opposition from anyone who might not want to see this project built. So that's probably the last thing I really want to share in this interview today. So thanks again for your time. Kuksham.